Hey guys, welcome back to the Rule of Two podcast. Glad you could be joining us. As always, I am your host, Sean. I've got my trusty, dusty partner in crime here with me, Aaron.
What up, everybody? How's it going?
Yo, yo, yo.
I was talking to you, Sean. How's it going?
Oh, it's going good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Great.
Yeah, so today it's kind of weird because it's usually the two of us making out in front of a microphone. But as we discussed earlier, we got two mics. But
we've upgraded.
We also have
to
three
our
mics.
Yeah.
And we have a special guest with us today. Specialist of guests, maybe.
We have a very special guest. So let's give a little background on this special guest. If anyone has gone to our website, aka no one,
RoTKast.com, just so you can go there. Actually.
Any of our social media at RoTKast. We've had some artwork done pretty recently, and we had it done before we went to Celebration, actually. And this very talented, special individual is joining us today. I think that we've kind of become more of a duo. More than a duo.
Oh, I was going to say more of a trio, one could say.
More of a trio, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Joining us today is the one and only, gorgeous, handsome, amazingly talented Jeremy Aponte. Jeremy, say hello to the folks.
Hello, folks. Jeremy here.
Yeah, why don't you give a little background about yourself that Sean didn't already cover? He might have covered everything, though.
Yeah, I'm a big Star Wars fan. Was introduced by my mom and my grandfather. I met these two lovely guys here through my brother. And they commissioned me to do their logo and a whole bunch of other stuff, like their business cards, beautiful pins.
That's right, awesome. Yeah. I always forget about it. Yeah, that was the goal, is to hand out all those pins and cards at Celebration.
We handed about like 5 of them.
Maybe. We really didn't do it.
Out of the 300 we had.
We were too enthralled by the atmosphere in general, I think.
It's too dope. Yeah. So, thanks to Jeremy for that. That was pretty dope.
Such an amazing job. He's super talented. Anybody interested in seeing his stuff, visit theyhatejeremy.com. Go check his stuff out.
There too. That's my whole little brand.
Very talented artist. There's a reason we picked him over anybody else.
Just like the Sith, I like to hate.
All right, so what are we doing today?
Welcome aboard, man.
Sean, what are you doing?
Glad to be here.
So, a couple weeks ago, we recorded kind of a Q&A session, and we only got through some of the questions because it took us too fucking long. So we're going to do the other half of the questions we kind of wanted to go through, kind of like a Star Wars, what do you think situation. We've got some lined up. Aaron, what's our first one, bro?
Well, so again, these are coming at us from the from all of the fan email that we get. All the tens of listeners emailing in, and compiled another list. And so the first topic.
How many emails did we get in?
We got about, well, I don't really remember.
It was probably in the thousands,
you
though,
get
right?
My nudes?
It was between 0 and 200 minus Jeremy's nudes. So the first question we're gonna talk about today comes from a reader from what is this, California, I think. Yeah. And they ask, which do you think is better, Star Wars or Star Trek?
I always hate that question. I feel like that's a really popular question to get, especially as a Star Wars fan. Which one do you think is better? I don't really think it's fair to compare the two. I actually hate it when people say Star Wars is better than Star Trek or Star Trek is better than Star Wars. The only thing they have in common is that they're both in space.
Yeah.
And that they're both science fiction.
Well, I would say like Star Trek to me is more trying to actually be realistic, where like science fiction
it's an
versus
entirely
science
different
fantasy,
environment,
That's
like
how I think about it.
Yeah.
Like, Star Wars is sci-fi, but it's kind of more of, science fantasy in my opinion. Sci-fi.
I mean, I agree. And it's hard for me because I grew up with both. I grew up watching all the original Star Trek movies, motion pictures, Search for Spock, Voyage Home, yada, 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 yada. And I don't necessarily like to compare the two in my personal opinion. Obviously, if I had to pick one, I would pick Star Wars. Otherwise, why are we fucking doing this podcast?
Yeah.
But
it's not the Star Trek podcast. Star Wars podcast.
I just personally think that I don't like comparing the two. They're their own entities.
I agree. I mean, obviously Star Wars is better, but I always hated this too. But growing up, I kind of was so steadfastly strong on Star Wars that I was just like, fuck Star Trek. Nope, not even gonna watch it. Stupid. It's fucking dumb.
See, I think that's a lot of that doesn't just happen with Star Trek either.
I know. I
feel like it happens
with a lot of stuff.
Harry
But
Potter and Lord of the Rings, anything
And,
that's like a
you know,
science
any fandom.
fiction, any huge fandom.
it was like competition.
saga
But I was
or-
like, I don't want to give the competitor any more views. Which is
Which
stupid.
is why you really always hated on Lord of the Rings, and why I don't think you've ever even
you
seen
don't
a
like Lord
whole
of the
movie.
Rings?
No. I mean, I have watched them all. Okay.
Oh,
But
have you?
I have. Yes.
How really?
Like, yeah, all the way through. Not like in one sitting, but I've definitely watched all of them.
All right. Who does Frodo
Okay, this isn't
go
a fucking
with
Lord of
to-
the Rings podcast. Right? This is a Star Wars Q&A. And all right,
Deflection.
but what I'm
deflection.
saying is that was dumb. And I at least watched the new Star Trek, the 2 that JJ made.
3. Well, he didn't direct the third one, I think, but
Wait,
he
there's a third
produced
one?
it.
They did a third one?
Yeah, it's called Star Trek Beyond. Idris Elba's in it. Wow. You guys
Oh,
suck
dude, I did not see that one.
ass.
Look, I tried watching the second one and I just fell asleep through it.
I thought the second one was the best. Star
I didn't really
Trek
mind 'em.
Into
I thought they were
Darkness
cool.
and they brought Khan back, and Benedict Cumberbatch plays
Didn't
Khan.
like the whole beginning of that, they said that he wasn't gonna play Khan.
I don't know.
Didn't they play the long con on that?
You
boom,
fucking
boom.
sorry, guys.
roasted us.
Look, with Star Trek, I try against Star Trek. My grandpa used to take me to watch the movies, and I just slept through them the whole time. I just not a fan.
So what was it? What is it about Star Trek that you just couldn't get into?
It wasn't my cup of tea.
Did
It
it
just
not
seemed
like-
too analytical. Where the Star Wars,
There's no kind of like, there's not supposed to be a rational explanation for Star Wars, right?
no, exactly. You got space samurai with light swords fighting. It's
Space sorcerers.
Moving things with their mind.
moving their minds. There's magic. I mean, everything a little boy wants.
And droids, too.
Androids, robots,
And robots.
explosions.
That's actually a really good observation to make, and I never really thought about it that way. But yes, Star Trek is much more like, like you said, analytical. It's like, how would this exist if it could exist, rather than who cares? Let's just fucking make something that looks sweet and that people will enjoy, which they do. Obviously, that's getting past that point, but it's much more scientific, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Much
Now-
more science than fiction.
Let's narrow this down a little bit to get a little more personal about it. All right. The Enterprise or the Millennium Falcon?
Oh.
That's a fucking. what kind of a fucking question is that?
I don't know.
It's the Millennium Falcon, all the
Yeah,
way,
all the way.
100%.
Isn't the Enterprise a little large?
I don't
Like,
give a
It's
fuck.
very
Fuck.
large, but
It's
they don't
huge.
have
So
the
wouldn't
hollow
a more
chest.
apt comparison be like
It can house like
an Enterprise versus
hundreds,
a Star
maybe
Destroyer?
thousands of people.
Wouldn't it make more sense to compare like the Enterprise to the Star Destroyer? I just feel like I always see the Enterprise versus the Falcon, and I think it's just because the Falcon's the quintessential
The main like
actual
the ship that
everyone-
everyone associates
Exactly.
Star Wars with.
and the Enterprise that was Star Trek. But I would just always thought it would make more sense to compare it to a Star Destroyer, in which case then the Star Destroyer wins. So
A Star Destroyer, maybe even the Tantive 4 might be another comparable comparison between the Enterprise and whatever exists in Star Wars. But I mean, have you seen the Enterprise?
yeah,
Kind of looks stupid.
agreed.
I don't know. I just never liked the design of it. I'm just like, what is happening with this?
But see, that's
fucking
probably
shit?
my bias from the time when I used to hate Star Trek for no reason.
Well, I feel like I'm clearly the only unbiased one here because I grew up with Star Trek, just like I grew up with Star Wars. Obviously, I lean more towards Star Wars, and so did my parents, which is why I got into it. But I remember watching all of those movies when I was very, very young. I didn't watch the TV. Have you guys ever seen any of the TV shows?
No,
I did not know.
I haven't either.
Pretty sure
My only
Parker
experience
has,
is the
watched
old
all of
movies.
it and loves it. Our friend Parker,
Well, friend is a
loose term.
loose term. Parker, if you're listening to this, fuck you.
We're just kidding.
But I did. I'm gonna fuck this name up. Aurora, the original
Uhura.
actress.
Aurora.
Uhura.
Uhura.
Uhura?
Uhura.
Not the actress, the character name. Uhura.
Yeah. I fucked
Yes.
up her, yeah.
Yeah.
The original actress. I did see her
Yes.
at a con. WizardCon.
Did you really?
She was so adorable.
Really?
She sang for us. I think she did an album.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
I wish I knew the actress's name. If only somebody sitting in front of us had a computer and could quickly look something like that up, and we could talk about it.
Oh, well now you're bringing attention to it.
it.
It's not like Jamie from
Yeah, Uhura,
Journey
who was
Experience.
played by. Holy shit! What the
Insert
fuck is her
sound
name
clip
in
here.
in the new ones? Zoe Saldana.
Zoe,
Yeah.
She-
let's see. Nyota Uhura.
No. That's the character name.
Nichelle Nichols.
Sure. Yeah. Let's go.
I
with
thought you
that.
guys knew it.
Nope.
Oh, you just wanted us. You wanted me to look it up.
To her panel, and she
I was just
a
curious
delight.
about what her name was and what else she's
Oh.
been in. I can't really think of anything else.
I don't know. She's old.
Either way, Uhura, you saw the original
Oh, yeah.
actress
She
from
was-
back when Leonard Nimoy was doing Spock and
Yes.
William Shatner was
William
doing
Shatner. Yeah, she
Kirk.
talked about her kiss on screen with William Shatner.
Oh
and how
shit!
controversial it was because it's the first
Interracial
interracial,
kiss.
wow.
kiss.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
You know what? I feel like I remember hearing
It was really
about that.
cool.
That's insane
to
to
listen
think
to
about.
her talk about it and like all the reactions she got, and it was just really awesome. To, like a living legend was right in front of me.
That's fucking dope, dude.
Yeah, we don't go to enough cons, man.
I know. Well, it'd be easier if we had a conference center nearby.
Well, we
Like one you could walk to.
Yeah.
do. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot held here. I mean, there is.
I'm pretty sure there's something like all the time. We just
Well,
probably don't
maybe
pay
we
attention.
just are not very well.
we're just
informed.
lazy as fuck. Anyway, all right. So, do you think that wraps up the Star Wars Star Trek debate? Obviously, Star Wars is the winner. So, I don't even know why we're talking about it.
I mean, I think we're all picking Star Wars as like which one we like better, but which one is better. My bottom line is, don't compare the two because they're very different from each other.
Oh, definitely.
yeah, I
Just
don't
'cause
even
they're
like
both
that
in
question,
space,
like what's
can
better?
you
Like
mean,
I don't
like-
know. What's better
Yeah.
to you is not better to me necessarily.
Yeah.
Like our friend Dave saying that NHL is a better sport than the NFL. I'm like, yeah, I like both.
I mean-
but I prefer the NFL. Like,
They're both sports. Like,
You can like
how
both,
can you
but
say
you
which
prefer
one's
Star
better? You
Trek.
can say which one you like better. You can't say
Yeah.
which one is better.
because if
I think it's
mean,
a more appropriate question to ask. Which
what's
one
better?
do you
I
like
don't know what's
better?
made more money. Star Wars. So sorry.
Well, yep, there you go. Well, is that true? Actually, because of all of the TV shows and all the things that Star Trek has done, is that actually true? I feel like there's way more content. But then does it also include action figures and memorabilia?
I mean, action figure
and-
alone probably would win out with Star Wars. That was
I mean-
something George Lucas was super smart about doing.
Honestly, I'm pretty confident that Star Wars has made more. George Lucas was super smart about action figures. They didn't even have any action figures that came out when the first movie came out.
Yeah, they did. Dude,
No, they didn't.
Okay, so he like
Nobody thought that it would succeed, so they
I
gave
know.
out
So
certificates.
I understand. Well, okay. So after Star Wars, after the original Star Wars,
After the
he,
original
like,
one.
made sure that he had 100% control over merchandising rights, because it wasn't really much of a thing then. But he kind of like thought it was going to be.
Fair.
And because of that,
Fair.
he made a shitload of money off
Oh,
of
a
it.
shitload. I mean,
Yeah. So apparently, well, this is just movie. Anyway,
this is just how much
Star Wars
money the
is
movies
two.
made.
yeah, Marvel's higher.
Well,
They've
of
also
course,
made like 80 movies.
Marvel's made way more movies, and all of their movies is that adjusted for inflation because most of the movies all the movies Marvel has made have come out within the last 15 years.
No, I mean it definitely doesn't adjust for inflation.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Not like, but all the movies that they've made have come out with like the last 15 years. Star Wars came out 40 years ago, so like there's an
Dude, Star Trek.
adjustment
doesn't even
to be had
hold a
there.
candle. Dora the Explorer is a higher earning franchise than Star Trek. Okay,
Jeez.
yeah.
Suck it, Star Trek.
I mean, this is actually an interesting list. Sorry to sidetrack here, but the top earning franchise of all time.
Is
To guess,
franchise?
like media franchises. Yeah.
Oh man, that is a shit. That's a tough one. Franchise, like TV, film, everything.
Yeah.
That is a.
All right, I'm just gonna answer it.
All right, go for it.
Pokemon.
That makes sense.
That makes total sense. I don't know why that wasn't the first thing that came to my mind. Because of the games, the cards, the films, the TV shows.
Yeah, this is pretty funny. Number 2 is Hello Kitty. Solely based off of merchandising sales.
Holy crap!
Their estimated earnings is $86 billion, and 85.8 billion of that is from merchandise.
That's insane.
Anyway, Star Wars is 5.
2 things. Pokemon Go made $1 billion last year. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's insane. Also, what was 3 and 4?
Winnie the Pooh and Mickey Mouse.
And then Star Wars, number 5.
Yeah.
Damn. So Disney basically owns everything and has all the money in the world.
Yeah, pretty much. Except for Pokemon.
Except for Pokemon. Yeah. Well, for now.
Anyway, nice little sidetrack there. The Star Wars podcast. All right, let's get on to the next.
What do we got, man?
The next question: Who is your favorite non-Force user character? So who's your favorite character that is not a Force user?
This is a really easy one for me, and it's without a doubt General Grievous.
That's pretty goddamn good.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I loved him from the first moment I heard of him, which was all the way back when they introduced him in the Clone Wars, the original Clone Wars cartoons, not the new ones that came out.
Tartakovsky.
Yes, those ones. Yes. And he was like using his legs to fight with lightsabers. And
so awesome.
He was depicted in that series more amazingly than he has been in anything else that they've done. I mean, they also did him pretty good, I thought, in the newer Clone Wars cartoons, but
I was terrified of him.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And so were all the Jedi. Like I remember the episode they introduced him, all the Jedi were literally running from their life. It was kind of like a horror, like suspense episode where they're like this crazy.
So dope.
You haven't watched it?
No, I have.
Okay.
It was so dope.
That's what?
Oh, no.
Sounds dope. It is.
Oh, no. Yeah, I know. We watched them when they came out for sure. But yeah, I've loved him since I heard about him and like his backstory and his species and what they represent and how like intelligent he is like a battle commander and war master, and without a doubt General Grievous for me.
But he died by such an inelegant weapon.
You know what? All right.
That drives me nuts.
Wasn't gonna bring that up, but yeah, that's a big flaw. I feel like with my selection, I didn't like how he ended, and and even how they portrayed him. I didn't think he kind of seemed like a little bitch
in the movie.
In episode
he was
3.
Not really that cool.
No, not really. He was way doper in the.
He sounded cool
in the
though,
TV show.
In the movie. He sounded just like he did, I guess, elsewhere, but it sounded good.
Yeah, I mean, he sounded like an asthmatic fucking robot, I guess, if that sounds cool.
Chest crushed by Mace Windu.
That's right. But did they actually? But is that like a maintainable? Like, is that actually because that was in the original Clone Wars cartoons where he crushed his chest and that's why he started. But did they carry that through to the new Clone Wars cartoons that are officially canon?
I actually don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I think they explained it in the
because there was the episode where
that's not canon anymore.
General Grievous went and kidnapped, quote unquote, the Chancellor in the original Clone Wars cartoons, and that's when Mace Windu like crushed General Grievous's ribs, and then like that was the whole like kind of lead into episode 3, which we never got from the newer Clone Wars cartoons.
I mean, we're getting that though next month.
We're going to.
Eventually. I hope they keep that.
Why wouldn't they?
Well, they could change it in any way they want. I mean, I'm saying I hope.
You mean they hope to keep the rib? I mean,
obviously, Grievous has to somehow kidnap Palpatine, but actually, I don't remember shit from Clone Wars. I really need to rewatch this.
You need to watch it again. All right, so mine's General Grievous. What about you guys?
Well, I'll go ahead. Mine is Chewbacca.
Oh,
that's a good one.
I mean,
great.
He's always by Han's side. Yes.
Yeah, remember when he almost ate Han? That was pretty funny.
Like through all the cartoons, he's fighting wars. I mean, like this dude was a fighter.
Yeah, that's pretty
prisoner
crazy.
of
For a
war.
long time, man.
Like, I don't know if people who don't watch the like Clone Wars really or fully understand like his backstory and how kind of
No.
tragic it was to have him essentially become a slave or whatever.
Yeah.
but to get freed. So, and then to be, wrapped up in the tear down of the empire and all that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even
200-year-old warrior bear race.
then when he finds out Leia dies. Spoiler alert. But yeah, man,
Dude,
Oh, that broke me,
was
man.
heart-wrenching.
broke me, man. He's just like, ugh.
Dude, actually, yeah, we talked about it in the Rise of Skywalker thing, but when they like faked
Fake his
Chewie's
death.
death,
Oh my god.
I was just stunned because like I knew Leia we all knew Leia was gonna die, right? I just had an assumption that I was gonna walk out of that movie and know she was gonna die. But when they fake killed off Chewie, I was like, what the? I was like,
The
just
old
silent.
true.
I literally sat with my hands on my head for 15 minutes until we found out that, oh, wait, just kidding. He's not dead. But I definitely lost it. Like, not when Leia died, because I, again, feel like we kind of all assumed that she was going to die at some point. But when Chewie
sad.
finds out
Yes.
that she dies and he fucking loses his shit, I was like, oh my gosh. That's what got me.
Then he has an awesome weapon.
Yep.
Which we didn't really understand the full potential of it until
Episode 7.
Rise of Skywalker, which
7.
was a little 7.
Yeah.
Oh, 7.
Force
Yeah,
Awakens.
sorry.
That's when
Yes, it was 7.
He's, they made 8 references throughout the movie that, hey, yo, your
The,
blaster's
the
pretty
Wookiee
fucking cool.
bowcaster is crazy.
Why didn't they do that before? I don't know.
I really don't. I mean, I always kind of feel like, and especially if you played the video games, you kind of always felt like it was
It's always
more of like a
powerful.
shotgun kind of weapon. But they didn't really emphasize it until episode 7, where they made reference after reference after reference.
And he's a pro at space chess. Undefeated, if I'm corrected.
That is true.
Well, and even if he did lose, he's gonna rip the arms off of the person who beat him. So
That's intimidation factor.
You know what? We can actually. I don't know if they actually have the full scene, but they're at least in the novelization of The Force Awakens, and I think there's a deleted scene on Disney Plus you can watch, where in episode 7, Unkar Plot goes to Maz Kanata's castle, right,
really,
and finds him there and all this stuff, and I guess
finds Chewbacca there.
yeah, well, because they're all there, right, when Han and Chewie and
Oh, Unkar Plot goes there when they're all there.
yeah, and
Oh.
is like harassing Rey, and Chewie rips his arms out of his socket.
No way.
Yeah, like, or not out of his socket. He just rips his
He
arms.
just rips
off.
his arms off.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What? There's a deleted scene with that?
Yeah, you can watch it right now.
Oh,
It's pretty cool.
shit.
And
I didn't
he
know
finally
that.
got his medal, but I also didn't realize this. That would I think the reference, at least in the visual dictionary, they say that the medal he got was Han's medal.
Oh.
Oh, so he didn't get his own medal?
Well, why the fuck would he have his own medal?
Why
all those
wouldn't he?
years
He's
later?
200 years old. He deserves 1,000,000 medals.
Okay,
All the
but-
shit he's been through.
But like, I'm specifically referencing the medal from the Battle of Yavin, and so I was like, why would they just give him another medal that's exactly like so?
Oh, yeah. Why was it just Han, Luke, and...
I know,
Was it just Han and Luke?
yeah,
Was it just Han and Luke that got the medals after the battle?
yeah.
of
I mean,
Yavin?
that's the point. That was like the joke, and why
Oh,
they,
okay,
they,
okay.
they
Well,
gave
I don't-
him Han's medal, and it was like, he finally got it after all these years.
It's stupid. She just gave him his own one to begin with.
Well, back then, animals were thought of a little differently.
He didn't have any rights.
Yeah, I'm glad they're not that way now.
Wait. Can't change my answer.
Yes.
Jar Jar Binks?
Oh my God, no! You cannot change your answer.
All right,
I mean,
sorry.
hey, no
All right.
shame here. If you like Jar Jar Binks, then
So we've officially kicked
He's a saint
Jeremy
of
off
war.
the show. He's no longer invited back ever again. No, I kind of secretly really wished that it would be Darth Jar Jar who was kind of leading the whole thing at the end of like episode 9. But
it would have been pretty cool.
they failed me.
They did in one of the books make a reference to Jar Jar and his life now. So essentially, they canonized him still being alive sometime in between episodes 6 and 7.
Really?
Yeah,
Which book? Do you
I
remember?
don't remember what it was. It might have been in the Aftermath series. But I don't know.
Okay.
They all kind of blur together to me after a while.
Yeah. Jar Jar Binks, really, man?
I'm just fucking with you guys.
You're just trying to fucking piss us off.
Yeah.
Chewbacca. All right. I love that answer. Great fucking character. Love him.
All right, so my favorite character, I had to think about this one, but I think I settled it on Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Dude,
Nice.
that was my runner-up. That was my number 2.
I got to go with him. I'm ashamed that I still have yet to read the original Thrawn trilogy, but I'm going to get around to it. I have read the recent Thrawn trilogy.
Right.
And it's awesome. And then them introducing him in Rebels, that was so cool. And
So
just the
amazing.
voice, it's the Mikkelsen. I don't remember the
actor?
Mikkelsen. It's Mads Mikkelsen's brother. Can't remember who he is.
No
I can't
shit.
remember.
Bad Nicholson's. Bad jokes. Bad joke alert.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
my
he's
God.
if you've watched
That
House
was
of
awesome.
Cards, he's the Russian dude in that. I don't know. But anyway.
Did not know that Mads Mikkelsen had a brother who was an
Awesome.
actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, just everything about him being so cunning and just thinking through everything. And he's just so analytical and smart. I don't even know how to fucking
He
describe
never
it.
lost his shit and was like just so calm and collected and like, let's fuck this shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he was one of like the few enemies in Star Wars that understood that you have to learn about your enemy and understand your enemy and live your enemy's life. That's why he was so good at what he did, is because he wasn't just like, kill everyone, fuck them, I hate them. He was like, no, you have to understand what they're thinking and how they're living and where they're coming from to be able to beat them. And it wasn't
he did
even
most
like
of that through art, right? Like that's kind of how he
Right.
understood
Oh, yeah,
his
he's like
like
opponent.
studied
collector.
their culture and their art, like all everything about whoever he was trying to go
He
after at that period of
He was
time.
always one step ahead of everybody throughout the entire thing. I don't know if you know much about the books, Jeremy, but if you listen to 2 of our podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
We did some recaps on those, some holocron data dumps, which we need to do one for the 3rd one. But
We do.
to sum it up, he kind of tricked his way into the Empire. Like,
Really?
yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like he was.
He
this
wasn't like one of those
refugee.
one who's like recruited by the Empire and like was forced
No,
into it. Like
he was a stowaway on one of their ships, and then he got found, and then he essentially requested a meeting with the Emperor or something like that, and somehow it worked, and they sent him to the academy, and he skyrocketed his way
Right.
all the way to the top.
the
and-
other thing about him that I always loved is that like he wasn't like a diehard believer in what the Empire was trying to do.
I mean,
He
that
believed in what
is-
he believed in his own agenda, and the Empire was the best way to get his agenda
That is
completed.
like a big part of the 3rd book. It's called treason, and like the theme throughout that is we don't know exactly where his alliance lies.
right.
And also in the 2nd book, when he goes out with Vader, like Vader's kind of there to make sure that he's kind of towing the line of the
Loyal
Empire
to-
and all that.
Right.
And there's a question as to whether or not he is loyal to the Empire or loyal to the Emperor or loyal to the Chiss ascendancy. And I'm pretty sure it's both to some extent, but mainly the Chiss ascendancy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's definitely one of those people who like flip flops depending on whatever the situation is at hand. Which is what makes him such an interesting character. Is like he's not transparent. You never
yeah.
know what he's thinking or what he's going to do. He's extremely cunning and fun to watch.
And also 2 things. One, we don't know if he's actually dead. I'm pretty sure they've confirmed that he's not dead, so we may get
We didn't see a
more out of
body.
him. Yeah. And same with Ezra, but
Right.
So hopefully, they kind of work him
That
into
pissed
future
me
Star
off.
Wars. Yeah,
I
it
just
was
finished that and that pissed me the fuck off.
pretty
How they
weird.
ended it?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is with the
Fucking just.
the floating space whales? Like, why? I don't really understand that. But again, Star Wars, it's fantasy. Takes you. This isn't Star Trek. You're not going to see floating space whales in Star Trek. You'll see them in Star Wars, along with floating space Leia and
That's true.
everything else.
Hyperdrive powers.
Exactly. So we may see more of him there, but we're also going to get more Thrawn content because I guess there's another Thrawn trilogy being written by.
No
awesome.
shit.
And it's about. I believe the first one's called Ascendancy. It's about his rise in the Chiss Ascendancy. So it's
pre
Empire.
him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
I
see.
feel like in general the Chiss species is extremely interesting. Like the fact that they call their that blew my mind when I found out that their Force users are called Sky Walkers.
Roughly translates to Skywalker. They walk the sky.
Like in their language, like they have their own language, but like that's what they call their species who is able to use the Force. That was just so much about their species and culture.
The third book has a lot more interaction with the Chiss ascendancy. Like they actually there's a Thrawn in the Empire also then he works with someone from the Chiss ascendancy that he knows, all working together in this book. So there's a lot. It's not just Thrawn as the only Chiss in this book.
In the third one, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. We need to do that one.
We do. All right. So we got Grievous. We got Chewie. We got Thrawn.
Any notable mentions?
I mean, I feel like Han has got to be up there.
Han's a pretty good one. One
thing I gotta say about Han, like, I love this dude because he just doesn't hesitate. If you think about it, every time throughout the series or the trilogy, whenever he's confronted, he just pulls out his gun and starts shooting.
Yeah,
like he opened up the door, or he turns the corner, and there's stormtroopers. He just starts opening fire, and then in Episode 5. Probably the most badass moment in the entire Star Wars saga probably was when they open the door and Darth Vader's standing there and he just fucking he doesn't even wait.
Nope, he just starts going for it.
Yeah, he's like, well, fuck this fascist. I'm going to kill this motherfucker.
Han's a good one. I always loved Hondo Onaka.
He's pretty cool. Cad Bane is up there.
Who?
Cad Bane.
Oh, Cad Bane is a great one, man.
Yep.
I loved Cad Bane.
How about Babu Frick?
I'm Bubble. I mean, I think we all just need to rewind and refilm this as saying each one of our favorite characters, Babu Frick.
Okay, all right. The Mandalorian.
See, I mean,
that's got to be.
I don't know enough about him yet.
Huh?
He's so cool, though.
Yeah, I mean,
we need to see more, man.
Well, we need to see more, but how? But
I mean, I'm just fucking with him.
Come on.
Of course, he's definitely up there.
Gotta be
there, yes.
I think it's just it's like the anti-recency bias, like when you just see some, the recency bias. It's like that, but that's keeping me from making him because I'm like kind of he's so new, I don't know yet, but he's pretty fucking cool.
He's fucking.
I just don't know if he's cooler than Thrawn, in my opinion.
Well, it's yet to be seen. I guess we have much more of Thrawn than we do of the Mandalorian, so I guess we'll see.
All right, so. Now, in a battle between the three, who wins? Between Thrawn, Grievous, and Chewie.
Grievous. I mean, come on.
I don't know.
You see, how many Jedi has he fucking killed?
I mean,
a shitload.
Okay,
he can battle with 4 lightsabers
at one time. How many droid arms has Chewie ripped out of sockets? All right.
None that knew how to battle with 4 lightsabers at a time.
All right, if we're talking like straight battle, then probably Grievous, yeah.
It's gotta be Grievous. I mean, and even so, like, Chewie's obviously really strong, but Grievous is also very strong and huge, and he's a robot. Like,
But we already know Grievous could be taken out by shots to the chest.
Okay, well.
And as established, we got the
If he doesn't have his lightsabers.
But, okay, do we know that Grievous
can actually block lightsaber bolts?
Or,
I don't know.
Blaster bolts? I don't know if that's the case.
I actually don't know that we've ever had confirmation of that being really a thing.
I think also his body is pretty resistant to blaster bolts, so like he just really doesn't care. He
just got unlucky with Obi-Wan.
Well, he also opened up his plate.
Well, he did. Yeah.
So he became vulnerable.
But also, we're talking about Obi-Wan here. Obi-Wan's
but what if you say you get that like sniper from Mandalorian? That one episode in the Dune Sea, what if there's like a person just chilling, like an assassin just chilling, hitting the right spot, like from a distance?
I mean,
totally could do that.
Yeah, they could, but that was the thing about Grievous. He was a master of like running away and avoiding being.
He's like a little spider.
Yeah. I mean, he's always ready for whatever's fucking coming, just like spiders. Have you ever fucking You ever seen spiders? Like they're always. We're getting off topic here.
I want you to finish that thought. They're always what?
They're like spiders are always ready. Like if you sneak up on a cat, the cat like freaks out and runs away. No, you're like you can't sneak up on a spider. A spider's always just like he's always in attack mode all the
waiting.
time. Like
motherfucker, you come
like
close.
there's a spider. There's no spider in there. No, he's there. Like pluck the little web. He'll be there in 2 seconds to fucking kill your ass.
I regret having you finish that thought. Sorry. All right, let's move on to the next question. Let's make this the final question.
What do we got?
We'll do another Q&A session a little later. So the next one is, what's your unpopular opinion about Star Wars or anything related to it?
Our unpopular opinion. You know, I think one of them is that Solo was a fantastic movie. I feel like there was a lot of like backlash against Solo. Like not a lot of people liked it, especially like the critics. I loved Solo. Dude, I thought it's definitely like in my top 5.
It's not an unpopular opinion around this table because.
Okay.
Well, no,
fair enough.
No, you're right though. It is an unpopular opinion.
Overall,
I'm just saying, I agree with you that. It's awesome movie.
I loved Solo. I thought it was great in every way. I really don't understand why people disliked it so much. Maybe it was the timing of the release and it being so close after.
I think there's
Last Jedi came out. I don't know.
That's one of them. One is it was so close, like it was 6 months. Like if they had kept the 1 year schedule, I think that would have been a little bit beneficial for it. In that it came too close. Like. Well, people can get Star Wars fatigue. I think it's a little different than like Marvel.
It's because way different than Marvel because Marvel's
kind of have their own self-contained stories, whereas now people will think of Star Wars. So, and I think that's why they kind of branded it away from, it was Solo, a Star Wars story. You know, it wasn't Star Wars Solo. It was and Rogue One, a Star Wars story. You know what I mean? So I think that's why they did that because they wanted to mitigate the Star Wars fatigue. I think that's a real thing with the mass public.
I agree, and it's like I feel like they had that kind of Marvel brain going on, like where Disney's concerned. And it works for Marvel because there's so many different characters, all with their own stories, that it works if you put out multiple movies, 3 movies in a year, which is what they've been doing for the last however many years. But with Star Wars, as far as the movies go, we've only got so many characters and so many different storylines and whatnot. So maybe that was part of it, but I didn't give a shit. I was like, hell yeah.
I enjoyed it. But I think along the lines you were saying, so many people have a preconceived notion of these characters. Like they know who Han Solo is, who Lando is, and they, for one thing or another, they want these characters to do things a certain way. And if that doesn't meet a fan's standards, right or not, they rebel against it.
It's true. Like there was because that was my first question when they announced Solo. I was like, why? Like,
yeah, well, what are we doing?
Gonna get a young Han? Like, I don't want someone to fuck that up, you know. So I think a lot of people had those preconceived notions of like this movie's gonna suck because it's not Harrison Ford.
Yes,
well, that's true, and it also went through a lot of drama.
Yeah, they fired the directors
leading up to the release of the movie.
The original directors were the folks from Lego Movie,
the brothers who did Lego Movie, and they ended up either bailing or getting fired or whatever.
I think they got fired, but I think
they probably got fired.
Mutual thing in the public.
There was also this thing about Aaron Aldenreich. Right? Is that his
Alden
name?
Ehrenreich?
Alden Ehrenreich. I was like, that doesn't sound right. Alden Ehrenreich, like in him not being a good actor, essentially.
Yeah, like he had an acting coach.
Yeah. Which fine. I mean, ultimately, I thought he did great. I loved him.
Good.
I loved him as young Han Solo, and I loved how Ron Howard did with what they had already shot, what they had already accomplished up to that point. I loved that movie. It was great. It was and
fantastic. They teased us too with additional stuff, like they were gonna do more. Like
they did.
That
was supposed to be like, it wasn't just supposed to be that movie. They were supposed to be,
according to Aaron Aldenreich,
multiples. Yeah. Wait,
I said it wrong on purpose.
No, you didn't. You said Alden Ehrenreich.
I said Aaron Aldenreich.
No, you didn't. You said Alden Ehrenreich. No,
let's go back and listen to the tape.
All right.
Stop this podcast right now.
No, they did. They teased us, and then
Yeah.
and now we're just fucked. We don't get anything
We're not getting
because
anything?
Well,
not
maybe.
as of
I
right
don't
now.
know.
No,
I mean, I guess we already kind of know what happened to Darth Maul, so
that's true.
Yeah,
We do know
I
ultimately
still would
what
like
happens
to
to
see
him,
more.
but I wanted to see more live action Darth Maul.
I was almost spoiled by the Star Wars premiere of the movie. I don't know. I think I've told you this before, Sean. I don't know if I said it on
What
the
do you mean?
podcast. So I was like watching the live on the red carpet thing on YouTube for the Star Wars premiere or the solo premiere.
yeah.
And they were, all
You-
these people were coming by, and
Yeah.
and then Ray Park walks
Park.
through. Ray Park.
Oh, the
is
guy
actor,
who
yeah.
plays Darth Maul?
Yeah, and
And Toad from the X-Men?
yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes, yes,
Sorry
yes.
about that. And he's like on the red carpet, and luckily I didn't get spoiled because I didn't make the connection. I was just like, oh, that's cool that they let past actors on the red carpet. That's cool. Like, he's just pulling his. I was on the in episode 1.
Dude. And
Spoiler: he was actually fucking in Solo. That was cool.
also, we were totally right about what's her face actually being in Rise of Skywalker. The chick who played Ahsoka Tano,
Oh, yeah.
because she showed up on the red carpet of Rise of Skywalker, and
Oh,
she was the voice
yeah.
of a ghost that you heard for 5 seconds, but
true.
she was in it.
Oh,
Ashley.
That's why she was there.
Ashley Eckstein.
that was actually a really cool scene, though.
Uh,
Going back.
Yeah, it was a really cool scene, and was
it
supposed to
in
be
Rebels,
way cooler.
What's the Master in Rebels?
Kanan. Jarrus.
Kanan. His voice is in there,
Kanan,
too.
yeah,
I thought that was really cool.
yep. Kanan, Luminara Unduli,
Ilya Secura, I think.
Sakura, Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, both Obi-Wans,
Yes.
Yoda, Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. They were all Mace Windu.
Both Darth Vaders too. Sebastian Shaw. They had him too.
No shit.
I'm just kidding. I think he's dead.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I
Anyway.
was like, what? Well, Alec Guinness is dead, and they still fucking had his voice in it.
Yeah, but true.
Yeah, and yeah.
There's a lot less
Okay.
footage of him talking with without the breathing.
What was the question that you were trying to answer?
Unpopular opinion. Solo.
Oh, unpopular
is
opinions.
good.
Yeah, Solo.
I think we
like
just
Solo.
changed the minds of the masses, and that is no longer an unpopular opinion.
I hope so.
Good job.
All right,
All right.
so what do you guys think? Unpopular opinions about Star Wars that you disagree with?
I'm gonna go with Boba Fett sucks.
Is that an
Dude, at
who
least up
thinks
until
Boba
recently,
Fett sucks?
I'm saying Boba Fett sucks.
Oh, you're saying Boba Fett sucks.
Yeah,
The unpopular opinion is that Boba Fett sucks.
yeah.
Oh,
Because I mean,
interesting.
I guess they kind of use some stuff to kind of give us a background. Like he's the only bounty hunter that Darth Vader specifically talks to, as if he has a reputation for being a badass and doing things. I don't know, but like, if again, I guess I could, the no disintegrations line, right?
Yeah.
But like that, wouldn't that then mean he's a shitty bounty hunter because he has a reputation for blowing things up when he's not supposed to?
I mean, dead or alive,
Yeah,
it's job
true.
done.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But anyway,
Whatever.
my point is he's barely in it. He does find Han, which is pretty crafty. All right. But
Yeah, he's the one who. Yeah, he's.
but then, he's on screen for a total of like 6 seconds in Return of the Jedi.
Which I
and
think is-
gets like
which is
he
what
gets killed by
drawn-
someone, a blind dude accidentally hitting his jetpack. So no.
Well, okay. The way
We
he
don't
went
know
out
He's dead, though.
was dumb. That's also
That's
true.
true. As of right now, we don't know that. I'm just saying
And the popular opinion is that he's still alive. If you've seen The Mandalorian,
I'm just saying he is the Captain Phasma of the original trilogy. Lots of marketing, but ultimately doesn't really do much.
but if you take what Captain Phasma did in the sequel trilogy and compare it against Boba Fett's on-screen time in the original trilogy, it's way more badass because you don't know that much about him, and his lines are, "He's no good to me, did." Like that's it. Like Captain Phasma just kind of seems like a little bitch. Like she got beat by a fucking half-assed stormtrooper.
She at least put up a
Twice.
fight. She at least put up a fight.
I mean, fair enough. I think you know what? I think because we know more about Captain Phasma than we knew about Boba Fett at that time.
I don't know. I'm just saying that.
I think that's what attracted people to it. It's like he's this cool, mysterious guy, and that's why he was so popular because he was really dope, and people like kind of just built built him up in their minds and they didn't know.
And he has cool armor. He's got the Mandalorian symbol. I mean,
And obviously now we know
got him.
Jets.
What's that?
A backpack with jets.
Yes.
Yeah.
They fly now. I don't know if you know that. That's new.
they fly now.
That's
Yeah,
a whole new
they
thing.
fly now.
They've never flown before.
They fly now? They fly now.
Rise of Skywalker reference, in case you're wondering.
I just the one thing that I will agree with you on is that he goes out like a little bitch.
And he goes out
Smacked
screaming too.
in the back
Isn't
with
he
a
the Wilhelm
stick.
scream in that one or no?
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah,
He does the Wilhelm scream as he's falling into the Sarlacc pit.
like a little
Who
bitch.
wouldn't?
Well, I mean, fair, but he gets hit
Din
in the
Djarin
back with a
wouldn't.
stick, and his jetpack
Din
malfunctions
Djarin
because
would
of
not
that.
scream like that.
I'm just saying, his dad held his own against Obi-Wan Kenobi and ended up getting away. So
Okay,
he's a little bitch.
Michael Jordan's son, isn't just awesome because Michael Jordan was awesome.
He's a little bitch too.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
He couldn't hold his own against Mace Windu.
Well, I mean, Mace Windu's a fucking badass Jedi. Supposedly the second most powerful Jedi in the whole entire galaxy. So when you're like 10 feet away from a Jedi and you've got blasters and they've got a lightsaber and you have no jetpack, what the fuck do you think is going to happen?
I think you're gonna get your head sliced off.
Yeah, yep. Exactly.
Anyway,
Exactly.
So,
no, I mean, I
that
think
does seem to be an unpopular opinion, at least at this table. You don't agree?
fair enough. Well,
I just think he's
almost just like, I mean,
he's overhyped for little to show for, and I think people didn't take that shit this time around with Captain Phasma. I feel bad for Gwendolyn
Fair
Christie.
enough.
Like they didn't
Fair enough.
utilize her at all.
I was really pumped about Captain Phasma.
She had a badass armor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The hype around, well, we didn't know it was her before the movie came out. Did we?
I think we did.
Like when the action figures that came out, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think we did that originally.
Because I have
I think
so
there was like
many of
rumors
those
like,
action
it might be a
figures.
girl. That might actually be Captain Phasma. Or
Yeah.
Gwendolyn
Christie.
Christie, who I saw in New York City, by the way. That was cool. Walked right past her.
Oh,
Closer.
I forgot.
Closer to me than you are now, Jeremy.
I forgot that
It's
you saw
crazy.
her,
She's
dude.
tall.
That's insane. Why didn't
So
you
tall.
like stop and be like, "Oh my gosh, Gwendolyn, can I get a picture?"
Because it was in the middle of like a pathway that's not wider than this table.
So?
because of construction.
How often do you walk
and
right
also
past a
there's, like,
fucking
Have you ever been in New York
famous
City?
person,
You know,
dude?
there's like
Yes,
people walking all the time.
I've been to New York City a bunch of times,
Right.
and there would be nothing that would stop me from being, "Hey, Gwendolyn,
Well,
can I have a picture?"
probably the other 6 people being like, "Oh my god, is that Gwendolyn Christie?" Like every single one of the people were like turning around, and then for the next block and a half, I just kept hearing people talk about her. It's kind of funny.
Well,
But that's got to be a common thing, right?
missed
Walking
opportunity,
through
bro.
Celebrities.
missed
No
opportunity.
fucking
is
way
all
I
I'm
would
saying.
go and just walk up to some rando on the street.
Oh, that you're anyway.
You're rude. That's rude. Let them enjoy their peace. But anyway,
All right, Jeremy. Unpopular opinion where Star Wars is concerned. What do you got?
I liked episode 8.
all right, fuck you, dude.
All right,
Let's get out of
this
here.
podcast is over. Thank you for joining.
that
We'll
was
see
our
you next time.
former-
Look,
Former guest.
there are definitely parts that could be done away with, but
This is going to be a whole episode right here.
it could be a whole episode. But no, I rather enjoyed it, and I don't. Think,
Why?
I mean, yeah, go ahead. Like, we won't shame you too much.
No, it's fine.
Oh, we will. I will.
No,
I will.
Like I said,
Mine.
there's definitely parts that could have been done away with, but I really do like Rey's struggle. She thinks she's this, like, everybody's talking her up that she is this upcoming to the Force, and she's going to find Luke, and she like it's like all this positivity. At the end, you left like, oh fuck yeah, there's Luke. Like, we're gonna fucking win, and it's like, no, this is not what it seems like. And I don't know, I'm sucker for like that kind of shit.
I can
And,
see in like a
and,
standalone
you're-
sense, it is a decent like story. You know what I mean? The-
You like the
story arc.
unexpected. Is that what I'm hearing?
yeah.
You liked that it wasn't what everybody thought that it was going to happen, or what
No,
everybody
everybody's
wanted
gonna
to
start
happen.
Like, all right, Luke's gonna come in. You're gonna train her to be this badass Jedi. You're gonna have a master apprentice. Like, no, that's not what it is. Like, Luke is he's crumbled. He has a hard past that we find out. Like, it's not this thing that we're expecting that's going to happen. It's it's not finding your Yoda.
I can see that.
And see, that's why I fucking hated it.
Okay,
because
so that's what I'm
to
saying.
me,
Oh, go on. You go first.
yeah, don't fucking interrupt me. To me, yeah, Luke was this generation's Yoda, and you know what the problem is we have all of this source material for 40 years worth of it, and even though it's not officially canon anymore, we all had this idea of Luke, and Luke is the beacon of light. He's the one who does the right things. He's the new force of goodness. It never wavers. He's always the badass who. I mean, not always. Obviously, there's some instances that I can think of off the top of my head where he doesn't actually is the one who like saves the day. But
yeah, I like to think of
the reason I hate Rise of Skywalker so much is because how they portrayed Luke.
Last Jedi.
What did I say?
Rise of Skywalker.
I meant the Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think I like to think that Luke is the next installment of someone like Obi-Wan Kenobi, because I feel like what you were saying about Luke there exactly is Obi-Wan from like the prequels through the Clone Wars and going through, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yoda, then Obi-Wan, then Luke.
Yeah, and so I think they kind of did that. They do reference that, right? Like they say something about Luke being a legend, right? He's like, oh yeah, there's something about it being him being a legend, and I think they were kind of referencing the fact that what they call the legends now, the old EU, is not what we're not doing what you thought we were going to do based off of the legends, right?
Right, and I think the big problem with that is that this is a 40-year-old.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I think
story
in a vacuum. I think this is like if you come into this movie like people came into episode 5, for example, like no one knew anything about Yoda, you know?
True.
You know, and so like you said, we came into this movie with this guy who's like broken down, and like the story arc that he has throughout the movie is like a fascinating story arc. I think in a vacuum though. So I think to me, given the whole just trilogy alone, not even thinking about the old EU, that is where it kind of breaks down for me.
Absolutely, because the way that Luke's portrayed in episode 7, the way he's portrayed in episode 9 is not the way he's portrayed in episode 8. Just looking at that trilogy alone. Like, they literally go back on things that he did in episode 9. Like when Rey hands him the lightsaber in episode 8 and he throws the lightsaber away. And then Rey tries to throw her lightsaber and then Luke catches it in episode 9. It's like, a Jedi's weapon deserves more respect than that. Like, you literally did the same thing an episode ago and didn't give a fuck.
He lost his way.
Yeah, but that's part of the story arc he's saying. Like, he was broken.
I don't like it.
Right, that's fair.
I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Do you, got a question for you.
Yeah.
Side topic. Do you also like season 8 of Game of Thrones?
No.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, we hate you a little less then.
Overall, no, but I don't know. That's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah, it was more of a
podcast. But
yeah,
no.
So,
but what
some people
I would say, what we do need is a Luke Skywalker animated series.
Yes, because that's something you're right. It can't be like a Disney Plus like freaking thing with a younger version of Mark Hamill, but it has to be a cartoon.
I mean, can we have one now that's officially canon? I think that they've like
the only thing we could do is
they've fucked it up too much.
Know
we can't
his whole time period between.
I don't think we can
that right now.
I think that they've destroyed the possibility of that happening because we know pretty much everything there is to know about Luke at this point. I mean, there might be some in between stuff that they could do, but I don't know
details.
if
we know what the
enough
Clone Wars is, but there's specific details in the Clone Wars that.
Sure,
we do. So there is in the recent visual dictionary. There's like a history of Luke, and I believe he started training Ben at like age 9, and he didn't do that until he was close to. It was like 13 years worth of training in between. So there is 13 years worth of stuff that they can do.
Well, and then the whole time before he starts training Ben too, like his whole. Because he spent a lot of time trying to form a new Jedi Order and look for a place to train everybody. I mean, maybe that could be interesting.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest thing with how they portrayed Luke is like, oh, and Aaron, you and I agree on this, is this is someone who was able to see the good in the most evil person in the entire universe and possibly in all of cinema history. You know, like he was like, no, there's good in Vader. There's good in Vader. I will never not see it. I'll never turn against him. You'll never turn me to the dark side. But then, I look into Ben's mind, this little kid, and I see something dark, so I'm going to kill him.
Doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. You can see, you never lose faith that Darth Vader's good. But this innocent boy who you see a flash in his mind of something that might be evil, but his future isn't written, so you don't really know. You're just like, oh, he has to die because he could be evil. That there's that discontinuity for me that doesn't make sense, and I really dislike. No, I fucking hate it. Go ahead, Jeremy. Say something clever.
But he's looking for good in his father. Like, he grew up with, with his uncle and his aunt, who he probably didn't have a great relationship with. It seems like he was working on a moisture farm, can't do what he really wants, and this is the first semblance of family he has. So he's trying to find that good. And
I mean, I guess it is possible because like I didn't think about it from that perspective. Even in episode 6, that it's only like 4 years later, so he's still young, still, grew up without his father figure. So I can see that, like, kind of naive.
But years
like,
later,
there's good in him, I swear.
Where he sees the dark side,
when he's
now
older, a little wiser,
scared of the dark side in Ben. I mean, he let it cloud his judgment. I kind of see where you're getting at.
I can rationalize it a little bit. I just don't agree.
The same way Anakin let his visions cloud his judgment.
Yeah, when all he had to do is force healer.
All right, so conclusion is Jeremy's wrong. Episode 8 sucks.
The most
controversial,
unpopular.
He does actually. I liked that you brought that up.
All I want, but
no, see, that's the thing. Opinions are your own, man. He's not wrong.
Opinions are like assholes.
Shut up. He's wrong.
I have a runner-up that I want to say real quick. Just
man.
Super short. I do list it as probably one of my least favorite, but I read a comment recently on Reddit that really made sense to me, and that Attack of the Clones is actually a pretty good movie, especially like if you just take out the whole like romance thing. It starts out with like a dope ass car chase scene. Then it goes into a dope ass like mystery thing, like kind of crime solving thing with Obi-Wan. That ends in a sweet fucking battle there. Kamino is awesome in itself. We see all these clones. And then it goes into this fucking raging battle with these monsters first, and then Obi-Wan and Anakin do their thing to get out of that, but then they're surrounded, and then all the Jedi show up, and the clones show up. It's a battle, and then there's a sweet.
And that's the first time we saw a lot of those Jedi fight with lightsabers. A lot of them.
So I don't know, kind of unpopular.
And then we see Yoda fight with the lightsaber for the first time.
I'll never forget that. That's like actually one of my earliest memories in theater. Just because I have a shit memory.
Same.
I mean, I was like
rewatching
13, but
and the fucking force faces they're making was god awful.
Like, what do you mean?
Like they're controlling big machineries, and they're just like, I'm orgasming.
Hey, you don't know what it's like to use the Force, man.
I don't. But
yeah, maybe they were actually orgasming. One of my favorite things is watching the kind of like background scene, like the extra features and stuff, and seeing all of the people that were in the background acting with like out the CGI. It's just ridiculous. Grown ass people like waving sticks around and flipping and like it's crazy.
I think that's one of the biggest parts of why everyone hates the prequel so much, is because it was so hard to act. So the acting seemed shitty because nobody really knew what the fuck they were doing.
And the dialogue sucked.
Well, dialogue sucked, but that's what happens when George Lucas writes the script. I mean,
true. That's
proven. We know that.
Yeah.
We have any more questions, or is that the last one?
I think that's the last one. We'll call it a day for now because, damn, we're on an hour.
Well,
let's just-
I mean,
let's
that's
just talk.
that's standard.
Pretty standard. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to call it a day. So, Jeremy, why don't you tell all the tens of users or listeners where they can find you at online?
So you can find me all around at They Hate Jeremy, theyhatejeremy.com. Just pop that into Instagram. You can find me there. On Facebook, I have a Twitter, but I'm never on it. So yeah, They Hate Jeremy. Give me that hate.
And we are definitely two people who don't hate Jeremy because he's a fantastic artist. We love his work. We wouldn't have chosen him if he wasn't amazing. Thank you for everything you've done for us. We appreciate it beyond belief.
Yeah,
man.
anytime.
You're a rock star.
Yeah, and we're definitely gonna have you on more now that we're, not huddled around a single mic and we have multiple.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be on this. This is pretty awesome.
I mean,
It's fun.
he did say he liked episode 8, so I'm a little reluctant now, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Can I be your inquisitor?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yes.
You just gave me some pretty good ideas there, man. I like that.
I mean,
Yes.
I can't be.
I'm gonna go out and have him assassinate
Sith
people.
or apprentice. So
You're right.
I
'cause-
just started the game.
yeah, because I already have an apprentice, and that's Aaron.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, that's just false. I'm clearly mastering this, master apprentice.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
That can be
well.
a topic for another podcast. So
to be continued.
They Hate Jeremy over here. We are the Rule of Two podcast, RoTKast. You can find us at RoTKast.com, RoTKast@gmail.com, and
At RoTKast.
Instagram, Twitter, I believe also Facebook is the same.
Yes.
So, all right. Yeah, send us emails. Just keep those coming in because they're just gushing in from all the listeners.
We have so many that it's hard to keep up. So if we don't respond right away, just know that we're going through tens of emails.
It keeps us busy. All right, guys, take it easy.
Peace.